That's one of the reasons that I think this type of stuff, particularly for first responders, with the lack of, we talked about it before, the lack of emphasis that's put on, this type of training for them is so massive, because when law enforcement show up to a situation, they're typically showing up to the worst moment in somebody's life.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you do 5 calls a day, for those 5 people, it's the worst moment in their life, but you've got to do the same 5 calls the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And on it goes. And so it's not just like the weight of that, but it's the fact that you can't predict what's going to happen in a situation where every person is incredibly volatile. And whether it's a single individual or a group of individuals, like that's what you guys are going into. And not being prepared, to defend yourself. And don't get me wrong, like I love sport jiu-jitsu. I think sport jiu-jitsu is really cool, like De La Hiva guard and all these other things that you can get in and out of. But there is something so just wonderful about the figuring out how to get your base, and like Tim Kennedy was saying, protecting your face from getting punched.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If somebody gets you in one of those fancy X guards or something like that we do in jiu-jitsu competitions, right? They're not going to punch you in the face because the referee's not going to let them.
Yeah.
But if you get into that in the street, then you're going to get pummeled. But the jiu-jitsu for self-defense, that is just about like, hey, protecting yourself, getting into an advantageous position, getting all of those things going. If we gave our law enforcement 6 months of just good training like that, it would change the outcomes and the confidence that they had in going into
the studies. The studies have been done. The studies are out there. Marietta, Georgia is one of them. There's a law enforcement agency, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, down in Florida. They all do that, and they've actually put the studies in, and use of forces have dropped like drastic numbers. I'm talking like 50, 60%.
Yeah.
Injuries on the job, taser usages have gone just plummeted just because of that knowledge. I mean, the studies are out there, and why more people are not catching on to that and applying it, I don't know.